Hello gamers, so a lot of people ask me what sights are good and what sights to use on guns, so today I thought I would actually compile a few of the good sights that I find to be the best. I'll be doing all these sights on the G3 because why not? I really like the G3 and I'm enjoying using it lately, so let's get into it. So the first sight down the list that I think is really good is the Z point. You're probably very confused because you're like, this is the lowest thing, right? Don't use the H&K sight, don't use the half ring sight. If you have low kills, the first thing you want to go to Z point and then just don't change it for a while. On the G3, it's not really the best because the G3 has like a billion recoil. No. Oh, but yeah, the Z point is small. It has a good reticle. It feels pretty low recoil except when you use it on the G3 battle rifle. But it's good. The next sight that you want to go to is skip the H&K sight, maybe skip the XPS2, although the XPS2 is decent. Skip the full ring sight and go straight to the Delta sight. So what I like to do is go Z point to Delta. Sometimes I'll use XPS2, but that's very rare. And this is what I was using on my G3 before this. It is a little bit less recoil like feeling, although just keep in mind that the sights don't change your recoil at all except for the DCL and the Mars, the AMT Terminator, I guess. But yeah, other than that, recoil is not changed by sights. It just looks like it changes your recoil. And the Delta sight is probably my favorite on the G3 except for the Terminator. It's really good. The Delta is like one of the best sights in the entire game. And as you can see on the G3, it feels low recoil. Sort of. Obviously, the G3 still has a lot of recoil, but it actually helps. Anyways, next you can go to Mars, but I hate the Mars. It's a piece of garbage. Don't really use it. The sight picture is alright, but it's a really high up sight, and it has a little bit too much zoom for what it's worth. The EOTech is decent, but I would say that from all these sights, the best ones are Z Point, Delta, and maybe mini sight, because mini sight is kind of like Delta, but I don't really like it. Some people do like the mini sight a lot. I don't really prefer it. I barely use it ever. Another decent sight is the PKA, but like I said, it's just decent. You can press T to alt aim with this, and it's pretty good on snipers. Then skip through all these. The PKAS is decent. The PSO1 is decent, but obviously on these guns, it's not really going to be that good, just on like snipers and stuff. But the next one up is obviously going to be the Reflex. The Reflex is probably by far the most used sight in the game. It doesn't require a lot of kills. It has a very nice sight picture, and it feels very low recoil, except of course on the G3 because the G3 has a lot of recoil, but you know, and G3 is not even like visible recoil. It is actual recoil along with visible recoil. But yeah, G3, pretty good. Reflex, pretty good. Like if you see a sweat, you're probably gonna see them with the Reflex sight most of the time because the Reflex is just arguably the best sight in the game. Oh my gosh, if I had lost that fight, I would have been so angry. But yeah, it only requires like 255 kills or something, so I would recommend just getting it as quickly as possible. The Cobra sight is decent, I guess. The Super Slim sight is meh. Then the next good one up is the Coyote sight. The Coyote's weird because it used to be like the one that all tryhards use, but now they use like Reflex and Delta. Coyote is kind of like fallen from grace a little bit. Coyote has the same zoom as the Reflex. No, it's the same as the Mars actually. It is a 2x zoom, which makes it a little bit like higher recoil feeling. Are you serious? I spawned in on this guy and there was a dude there and I could have shot him, but okay, I'm leaving this server. But yeah, new server. Basically, this has a 2x magnification. The Reflex, the Delta, and most sights have a 1.5x magnification, which kind of makes this better for like DMRs, I feel. But it still works on assault rifles, carbines, battle rifles. Although it does feel a little bit more recoily, it kind of works a little bit better at range. Like I feel like it can more accurately hit shots from a little bit farther away. And this kind of just is a better Mars because the sight picture is way better than the Mars and it's like not so high up off the gun. It also doesn't look ugly. Saying that the Mars looks ugly is not an opinion, it's a fact, all right? The Mars is ugly looking. Like it literally makes your recoil better, and I don't even use it on guns that I alt aim. If you're just gonna alt aim, it's better than the DCL because it does the same thing the DCLs does, but like it's not a stupid like big optic. It also makes your hip fire better, I believe. Well, it makes like your hip fire recovery speed higher because the red laser doesn't actually make your hip fire slightly better. Like it doesn't actually make your hip fire better, just like your recovery speed, which is why the green laser is better because it's the only one in the game that actually makes your hip fire better just all around. Like when you spray, you'll be more accurate with the green laser. They used to all do the same thing, but now they actually do different stuff. I think it was around the time that they added the blue laser and the tri-laser that they made it no longer like a cosmetic thing. Oh, I'm like way behind enemy lines here, but I'm not actually... Okay, I hit that guy in the head once and the body once, which means he's a one-tap. Oh my gosh, dude, please don't. Please don't shotgun me. Okay, he did. Yeah, the second you see somebody with a Remington 870, just run. The next good one is probably the ACOG, but the ACOG is decent on the G3 for tap firing, but really not that good on most guns. And the Pillad 3 is also decent, but I don't really recommend it that much. It's decent though. And next up that I would say is really good is the Barska Electro. This is just a Coyote sight. However, it has a little bit of a different reticle. Like, it looks the same, right? But then it has this reticle, and it's really just a preference of reticle thing. I think the Coyote is probably better because the reticle is like less obstructive, because it's just a dot versus like a weird, I don't know, kind of cross thing. Okay, you're dead. So yeah, it's really up to personal preference. You usually see the Barska Electro on people who just like have a lot of kills on their gun, because Barska Electro is like 700, 600 kills versus the Coyote, which is about like 350. I feel like I'm doing trash, but I'm going 11-2. The next one that I would say is very, very good is the OKP7. This one's probably underrated at this point. Like, I don't really see it that much. Oh, the TRG guy actually hit his shot there. But yeah, it's good. I only really use it on the M3A1, which is kind of ironic. The M3A1 is like one of the most American guns possible. And the OKP7 is like a Russian sight. It works on AKs. I don't know. Oh my gosh. But yeah, overall, a lot of these sights don't really work on the G3. I'd say the best one for the G3 is definitely the Delta, or a sight that I'm going to get to in a second. Next up, and this is like one that's very favored by tryhards, but you barely see other than like HK416 mains and stuff. This one's really good though. It's the DDHB Reflex. You've probably never heard of it if you're a lower rank, but higher ranks probably like it. I don't know, high ranks just seem to like this kind of sight. Oh, the game ends so fast. I went 16-4, that wasn't too bad. But yeah, this is the reticle. It's got a very nice reticle. It's very like unobstructive, kind of like a Reflex. I wonder what the zoom is. It's got a 2x, which is the same as the Coyote, versus the Reflex, which has a 1.5. Delta also has a 1.5. ACOG has a 4, and apparently the irons of this gun actually have a 2.4 sight magnification, which is interesting. They kind of feel zoomed in a little bit. All right, it's Crane. That's not too bad. I think Crane Sight is a nice map for the G3 anyways. Like, when I started recording this video, I actually chose Crane Sight on purpose. It's so weird that there's the revamp that has like these buildings over here, and then there's also the regular one that doesn't have the buildings. I prefer regular. There's not so many like buildings where people will just be, so you can actually just like kill people more often, you know, because basically how this game works is the more buildings there are, the more annoying it is to find people. It's basically the rule of this game. Man, this recoil kind of floaty though. The DDHB, honestly, it's got good magnification for what it is. I feel like it kind of works better with 2x than the Coyote does almost. The sight picture looks very nice. I really like it. It looks more like a CSGO reticle when you actually make the reticle small in CS, or in any like tactical like competitive shooter. It's always just a really, really tiny cross that just looks like that, versus some games which have like the very, very big cross, like this game does. Like, if you could make that all the way small, it would look like this, you know, except it would like not be red. And you can actually change the color as well, which is so sick. You can do that on most sites now, but it's cool that you can do it on this one as well. Come on, I hit 3 shots there. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Anyways, off of the DDHB, we also have the DCL 120, and I hate this sight, but it is kind of good in a way. It has a 1x sight magnification, which, as you can see, you don't even like zoom in. The only reason you zoom in is because I turned up my FOV a little bit. If you were on normal FOV, you wouldn't zoom in at all, but I kind of zoom in. Since you don't zoom in at all, it's basically like you're hip firing, except that you actually get ADS accuracy. Which, I mean, it can be helpful, and it also lowers recoil a little bit. Not a ton, but a little bit. It's not even, like, noticeable at all. You wouldn't believe it unless somebody actually told you. It feels low recoil only because it's a 1x, so it's basically like using alt aim. And that's why I don't really like it that much, because alt aim works better and it doesn't lower your ADS time or anything else. This makes your walk speed slower, you zoom in slower. It's just annoying. Next up is the AUG A1 scope. Such a good scope. I'm glad that they put this on every gun in the game. All these ones that I don't actually have unlocked kind of suck. The only one that I really think is that good is like Global Offensive Scope is actually good for sniping. And I guess the Plague Insight could technically be a better DCL 120. That is if you press T with it. But now we're going to go to my favorite sight probably in the entire game, and the one that I actually use on the G3. It's the AMT Terminator. Now this sight doesn't even look like a sight. It looks like nothing. It looks like a weird laser, you know? But what it does is it gives you alt aim, which is this. This doesn't slow your ADS time. This doesn't do like anything that the DCL 120 does that's negative. It doesn't necessarily lower your recoil, but it does give you the effects of a red laser, which means you get a little bit better, I guess, recoil recovery speed. Whatever else the red laser gives you as well. I'm not exactly sure what it gives you. Now, I'm not using red laser because I'm using tri-laser on my main gun, but I guess I get an extra red laser. I would use green laser, but I just have enough kills for tri-laser. And once you get enough kills for tri-laser, you may as well use it, you know? But the reason I like this so much, especially on the G3, is that this gun has a lot of recoil, but it does have a lot of visible recoil as well. Kind of like the AK-47. The AK-47, it's got a lot of visible recoil, right? But if you put on AMT Terminator, it makes it a little bit easier to hit shots because it's not like going up and down so much. Wow, I actually spawned on the guy and that was him. This just allows you to like hit shots a little bit more accurately. Not like that far away. That was just potato aim there, but as you can see, you can actually like hit stuff. I mean, people alt aim on the M231, which is the highest recoil gun in the game. So why can't they alt aim on this gun? People are gonna alt aim the M231. They should be able to alt aim this gun. And you shouldn't be able to get in trouble for it. I used to alt aim the AUG H-bar. I don't know why, because it was before it got nerfed, so the recoil was still incredibly accurate. And then I switched over to the tryhard loadout, which at the time included muzzle booster, because it literally had no recoil even with muzzle booster. I always run out of reserve ammo on this. Regardless, on the G3, it actually kind of works, and I use it a lot. Somebody actually told me to use it. I don't remember who. It was like some guy in the comments. And I was like, there's no way it would work, you know? I didn't think it would. But then, when I unlocked it, I was like, why don't I just try it out for the meme? And then boom, it worked. It was really weird. I was like, no way. Oh my gosh. Realistically, it shouldn't work this well, but it actually works this well. I was gonna make a video standalone about this, and I might still do that, but like, who knows? Because this is a really fun gun to use, especially with this alt aim. It's so nice. If they ever like add back night vision or implement night vision in like a severe way, this scope would be good on certain guns because it actually does give you night vision theoretically. I'd like to also give a little bit of a shout out to the CAC site. This is the Mark 11 irons and it works really well on the Mark 11, so it might work on other DMRs, so check it out. If I had to pick like 5, maybe like 7 that I would want you guys to use, it would be Z point, Delta, all the way down to Reflex. That's how I usually go. I go Z point, Delta, Reflex, and I might stop at Reflex, but sometimes I'll go to Coyote. Then I might go to Barska Electro, which as you can see is a little bit different, but it's basically the same thing. Like, it looks so similar. Then I might go to OKP7, DDHB Reflex, and finally AMT Terminator. I would not go to DCL 120. I've never actually used the DCL 1. Well, I've used it, of course, but I've never actually like wanted to put it on a gun. There's never been a time when I've been like, I should put the DCL 120 on my gun. I just don't like it. It's slow. I don't like the reticle. It's just trash. But yeah, those are the sights I like. The best sights I think that are in the entire game. If you guys have a sight that I missed, please leave it in the comments because I want to know what other sights do you guys like, because those are just the ones that I like. I think that they're probably the best ones in the game because I can't really think of any other good ones. Maybe the ACOGs. I mean, this one, the IWI sight, that one's actually kind of good. It's the TAR sight and I like the TAR sight. Oh yeah, the Pillad 3. Pillad 3 is decent. I don't really like it that much, but it's decent. The double open sight apparently is custom made by Mar. What are these irons? They're whack. I mean, they don't actually seem that bad. Maybe I'll give them a go sometime. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like and a sub, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.